Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 369. Actually, I forgot the music and stuff this time. That's all right. That's all right. We don't have Evan here. Evan's not here. It's fine.
I didn't want to say anything, but that was quite the intro.
Hey, I'm keeping it real over here. Let me see. We got the usuals here with us. MVG is actually returning tonight. MVG, it's good to have you here, sir.
Great to be back. Thanks for having me on, John.
Good to have MVG here. We got Ryan with us tonight. Still fighting the allegations of Cross versus X. But
no, I'm not.
I keep finding the proof.
Hold on. I never said it wasn't. Sony thinks it's Cross. But it sounds right to say X. I'm aware. Well, that was Need for Speed Unbound, that example?
Yeah, I was the kids wanted to start it up on because it's on like the PlayStation it's on the Plus extra tier or whatever. Sure. It's like, all right, fine. And I go through, they have the on-screen narrator on by default, and it's like press cross to continue. I was like, all right, I got it. Another one for the books. I mean,
there's a lot of games that do it.
And on-screen now, I'm gonna start turning that on and see which games say X and which games say cross. We're gonna find out. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. But it's good. It's good to have Ryan on this tonight. We also, of course, have OJ holding up the pre-stream.
Yep, good to be here. Good pre-stream. Ready to talk about video games.
I saw on the pre-stream he had like the Call of Duty controversy. We're gonna get into that one, especially with the cross-generation period continuing on. It seems we have Paper Mario.
I barely even talked about it.
Oh, there you go. You're the right place.
But I had it.
We got it. We had Paper Mario, of course, came out. We'll cover some of that. Hellblade 2. I actually played through that. I think MVG may have. Did you beat it too?
I'm almost at the end, John. I was playing it just before. I'm getting close.
Okay. Yeah. You're with how many chapters there are in there, once you think you're almost done, you finish pretty quick with it. So like the chapters, there's I don't know if I should say how many there are. That might be a spoiler. I'm not sure, but
no, I know how many there are.
And I actually completed Animal Well also this week. So that's a
good game.
I liked it quite a bit actually. And then we do have the Nintendo acquisition and a whole bunch of other topics actually that I wrote down for tonight. So I got a lot of stuff to go over, and I do want to go over also to the Patreon with some of the supporters here. Shout out some of the producers: Trent A, The Game Orb, Justin Maverick, Mr. Joby, Joshua Butts, and John O. Shout out to them for supporting, making this possible. If you'd like to learn more about that, you can go over to the Spawncast Network, the Patreon, or just spawncastnetwork.com. Check that out over there. And I do want to point out there were two super chats that came in. One was from Brian, who said, any merit in Nintendo applying DLSS to N64 and beyond Nintendo Switch Online with Switch 2. Shout out to MVG for the decomp video. That was a good video.
Thank you.
I honestly, MVG had me thinking about downloading that tool. It's out there and available now?
It is, but I wouldn't say it is really ready for anyone that doesn't have any good understanding of reverse engineering skills for the N64. But I do know that they are working on better documentation and tutorials to kind of explain how things work. But
Majora's Mask look clean.
Recompilation maybe it's the future.
Majora's Mask look clean though. I was like, I kind of want to play that again on PC, like ray tracing. What do you think, Evan? Do you think it's possible they do some kind of DLSS upscaling? Could they do that for N64?
In like officially, like via the NSO?
For like NSO. I don't even know if that's a thing that happens in emulation right now.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I know they do FSR and they do upscaling. Like they could have just the base DLSS in there, but I'm not sure about frame generation type stuff. That would be very interesting to think about. I guess technically you could do that. I mean, the RT64 plugin that's out for the recompilation, that's also going to be an emulation plugin as well. So that does do some type of frame interpolation or frame insertion. So yeah, I mean technically they could do that. So yeah, it's possible.
Truly Epic also asked, can the Too Many Games Spawncast be recorded for Patreon? Yeah, last year they had mentioned that. And I need to bring a USB or something for them to move it over to. But yes, they can actually. And I think we're gonna do that. We'll do that and we'll put it up on the network as like an exclusive thing. People can go on there and just check it out. But it was fun last year. We did like a lot of the Q&A stuff, and it was a good time. A lot of good questions came in, and people had to ask him in person. So if they had some craziness to ask, they had to look at us eye to eye and say it. So, but the one person, I hope they come back this year because Sean apparently is going to be there. One person brought all the Balan Wonder Worlds to get signed, every version. So they got to come back this year and get it done because Sean will apparently be there. He's on the way. He's been announced. Did you see the picture he chose, by the way, for the website?
Yep, I saw it.
He looked surprised. He looked surprised. All right, let's let me go over here. MVG, you like you should.
Your mic is toast, John.
Did I just tap it? Did I mess it
There
up?
you go.
There you go.
You're good.
I played through Hellblade 2. You played Hellblade 2, MVG. I don't know if Ryan or OJ played that at all.
No, I didn't play Hellblade 2.
Okay, that's fine.
I watched Dreamcast guy's video.
There's a lot of discussion around this game in general, so I feel like even people who haven't necessarily played it still are kind of discussing the idea of the structure of the game, because reviews were all over the place on this one, and there is a certain game that it really reminds me of that I will bring up here in a moment, but I do want to go over to MVG, get some thoughts on this. What do you think about Hellblade 2 so far? Which chapter are you in right now?
I think I'm at the end game, John. Like I'm at the final chapter of the game.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to spoil it, but there's two big set pieces in the game that you have to deal with, and I've done both of those. So I feel like I'm at the end of the story at this point. But yeah, I like the game. I think the game's awesome. I know it's very polarizing. A lot of people don't like Hellblade 2, and I understand the reasons why. People may not connect with the game. But I'm really enjoying the game. I think the story is fantastic, and I'm having a great time with the game. I've been kind of flip-flopping between PC to get the 60 FPS experience, which I will say is freaking amazing. But I'm also playing it on the Xbox, and that has its own appeal about it as well. It does look very clean on the Series X, and it does run it at a locked 30, so there's really nothing wrong with that as well. But overall, I like the game. I mean, I get it. It's a walking simulator. There's not really much to the game, and I think there's not really much to Hellblade that has changed from the first game. There's definitely a lot there to be said about, the puzzles in the first game. It's very similar to what you'll experience in this game. They have kind of gone a little less deeper with the puzzles in Hellblade 2, but overall, I like it. I think the game is cool. It's something that I'm going to play, I'm going to finish, I'm going to enjoy it, and I'll look back on and say that was a really good experience. But honestly, after I'm done, I'll probably never pick it up again and play it ever again. And I think, go ahead.
I was going to say, MG, you're right about that you said you're gonna be finishing it. As I was going through, I got the last achievement. It was significantly higher than Redfall. I will say that. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I think getting 1,000 achievements in this game isn't difficult to do. Probably pretty simple. But what I was going to say was the game, I like the game a lot. The unfortunate part is it's not going to move the needle as far as what Xbox is looking for, as far as Game Pass and growing Game Pass. I think that's the real difficulty with Hellblade 2 in this regard.
What are you doing? You dying over there? What the hell is that?
I had something in my throat, dude. I just had to cough a little bit.
Sean's
Apparently, you're not allowed to do that.
right now.
Fuck's sake, man. Fucking
Sean's like his
over there.
feet kicked
Jesus.
up over there, on the couch. Your Chromebook. Sean, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm tired.
Yeah. Well, did you play Hellblade 2?
Not yet.
Okay. Not yet. You're going to, though.
Yes.
Okay.
I like the first one, but it seems like it's just more of the same, which is kind of...
I think it's better than the first one, personally. I like the first one okay, but I kind of got a little kind of over the perspective puzzle thing really quick. And this game does have those perspective puzzles that you got to solve, right? But nowhere near the level of the first game, in my opinion. And I think what's really good about this game is the combat has been beefed up a lot. Even though they have kind of simplified it in some ways, I really like the way they've done the combat in this one. I think it's pretty cool.
It feels more impactful. Like it's one-on-one the whole time. So when you defeat an enemy, they do some kind of like set piece animation very quickly to flip you to the next enemy, whether they grab you and throw you over to the side of the room or punch you or something. So it does kind of shift perspective and do that. But the puzzle side of it you're mentioning, you noticed it locked you in very, very easily, very quickly. If you were even just kind of in the general vicinity of lining it up, it was just like, all right, you're good. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah.
Did not mess around, did not want you to spend too much time on any of these puzzles. So if you're someone who was dealing with those puzzles and getting kind of annoyed in the first one, they must have heard the feedback because they were like, all right, just go match up a couple shapes. All right, good, keep going. Don't worry about it. So they felt like there were fewer puzzles too. Like I got to a point where they just stopped doing them completely. Like for a solid like hour and a half. I was like, I don't worry about it anymore. We're good. So the combat, which doesn't really evolve much. Like your character isn't necessarily getting stronger. You're getting better, I guess, at the dodging or parrying mechanic, but like you don't get different weapons. You don't upgrade any of that stuff. It's very much set in the path of this is a narrative experience where yes, you're going to be holding up on the joystick to move most times and occasionally pressing A. And then sometimes we'll throw an area at you where you can run in a circle. But for the most part, you're going to be going straight. We'll have a few puzzles and the game's going to look incredible, which I will give it to him. This is the best looking game on the market right now.
Oh my God. It looks amazing, dude. It really does look so good. And I will be honest, it's probably one of the reasons why I am playing the game because I'm in awe of the graphics. Even on the Xbox Series, it looks fantastic on like, a big television. And then just earlier today, before we jumped on here, I was playing on the PC at 4K. Man, it looks incredible. Just a beautiful looking game. And I think, they did an amazing job on the visuals for this.
The PC version looks obscene. The Xbox version looks a little soft because they had to get the resolution lower to make it all just work. But if you get on PC, got a really nice video card, the whole thing, it looks super impressive. And I did go into photo mode a few times on the Xbox Series, and you can do it at any time. So you could be mid-swing in combat. You can go to photo mode, and you can just look around at all of it. And you could take those... They do the thing where they have the black bars on the top and bottom, so it looks like a movie, basically. They don't do anything with the HUD. You don't have a HUD at all in this game. No button prompts, nothing. And I was not a fan of the black bars. I don't know. I prefer just to take up the whole widescreen. Like I have a widescreen. Like just do that.
I mean, I feel like they did that to hide. It's that thing where in the original Silent Hill they put the fog in and they said, "Oh, this is for the suspense of the game." When really at the end of the day, it's because the PlayStation original couldn't do perspective 3D very good, so they just put fog in there to kind of cover up some of the technical details. And I think the same thing applies here. I think if it was just a full 16:9 presentation viewport, the performance would have been lower than what it is now. I mean, let's be honest, it runs at a 30 FPS lock on Series X, but I think any more than that, it would have started dipping frames. Same thing on PC. I think you can get a pretty good 60 FPS experience, but for the most part, I think if you did open up that viewport, it would start dropping frames. So I think they just hide some performance, honestly.
It's definitely a game that I could see where they could have doubled the playtime. They could have said, we're going to make this a 10-hour experience. So to a degree, it took me 5.5 hours to beat the game. I am okay with that because I feel like if they tried to stretch it out to that much time, I probably would have felt like I just wasted a lot of time playing certain aspects of it. Like the puzzles, they could have done more with that. But I don't mind a game that gets you through it in a concise manner like that, as opposed to it. Like we talk about games having so much bloat, Rebirth being an example, I know, but like those kind of games where we spent 5.5 hours playing through this game, and that for Rebirth was like the opening and a little bit of the first area. And we just did the whole game here. So I don't mind it. I do question the amount of time it took for this game to come out, I feel like, because we saw this before the Xbox Series. Like, well, when the Xbox Series was shown, this was the game they showed alongside of it. And it just now came out, and I completed it in like 2 days. So it does feel like that's a game that maybe if they had shown it at the end of last year, so like it only had an 8-month run up or something, then it wouldn't have felt as I don't say disappointing, but maybe underwhelming in terms of the playtime and that sort of thing.
Didn't I thought I heard from somewhere that production actually wasn't as long as some are thinking.
When they showed the trailer, apparently they had nothing. That was all they had.
The thing is, though, like you announced the game with the launch of a console in 2019, and it doesn't really matter how long production was. I mean, it's basically from that date till now is what people really measured this game on, because that's what we saw originally, and then it took this long for the game to get released. So even though the production cycle was probably less than that, ultimately it took a long time for us, players to actually get our hands on the game.
Yeah, I personally thought the game was going to be like a bigger experience from what Microsoft showed. I thought, like, since they bought Ninja Theory, it's going to be like a big full Hellblade experience. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought they were going to do more. I thought, because of how long it was taking. Now I know that some people were saying, hey, it's a narrative game, and I get that. That's the experience. I played the first Hellblade, not for me, but. Yeah, I just thought it was going to be like a bigger experience, like with more stuff, considering Ninja Theory's background, right? Like Ninja Theory, they've made some of the craziest games. They made Enslaved. They made the DMC for Capcom. They made that one. They made a game called Heavenly Sword, which I know Ryan knows. I don't know if you like the game or not. I like it. But they've made some pretty cool like action games, in the past. So this is definitely a little bit of a shift from what they've done before. So we'll see what they do next. I'm hoping they kind of go back to that, DMC or Heavenly Sword, or
I feel like it's Hellblade 3.
Or I hope they do something different. But if they do Hellblade 3, that's fine. It's their choice. But I don't know. I mean, if you're looking at like the Steam numbers and some of the other things, it doesn't seem like it's doing too hot. So I mean, maybe it might be time for something else. But if it's not, that's cool. I mean, Phil Spencer says people can just do whatever they want, right? Devs can just make the games they want to make. So if that's their strategy, that's fine too.
If I look at this and I go, okay, I'm going to judge this on it being a narrative, I'm going to say experience, then I would say it is a 10 out of 10. But if I'm going to go in and say, is this a full game? I'd probably have to reel it back a bit. But this does remind me very much of the Death Stranding discourse. Like where we went back and forth about is that a game? What kind of game is it? It would like that, but that was the thing, right? It's people were saying it's not.
Thanks, Sean.
I moved my mic away, but
yeah,
I was eating. But I guess it wasn't
that
far
seems
enough.
You did not move your mic away.
No, I really did. It's one of those like headsets, and like I put the mic up instead of right by my mouth.
I thought it was like Rammstein concert or something, or it was like Slipknot just came through. Like, what, bro?
But like with Death Stranding, people were saying it's a great game, but it's not fun to play, that sort of thing. I could see how people would look at this and be like, it's a really good experience, but it's not very fun to play. I could see that come up, but that's sort of how I describe this more as
the thing is, though, what were people expecting from this? Because like if you're expecting God of War, then you're coming into this all wrong. You're going to be disappointed immediately. And the thing is, they never advertised this game to be God of War. You know what I mean?
No,
I think a lot of people, hold on, a lot of people made assumptions about what this game was going to be, because when Microsoft acquired Ninja Theory and Hellblade 2 was announced, everyone was like, well, now they have all this Microsoft money, so they're going to make a huge blockbuster AAA game that's 30 hours. But they never said that was going to be the case. They said this was just going to be Hellblade 2. So I feel like a lot of people came into this and scored it based on the game that they thought it was going to be rather than the actual game that it is. And I think that's why the scores are kind of all over the place, to be honest.
Go ahead, Sean.
But, I mean, what did you expect them to expand it, though?
Well, I mean, that is definitely a criticism that the game is getting, that why wasn't it a larger game based on the fact that they do have, that Microsoft money. But I don't know, man. Like I always felt like this game wasn't really going to be that far, ahead of the original game, based on the fact that they did announce this game back in 2019. So I don't know. I didn't really expect anything more than what it really was at the end of the day.
The only thing I was a little surprised on was the combat didn't really improve that. I mean, sure, I get what you're saying when it comes to the cinematic nature of it. Maybe just the more mechanics and other things to it. It did we have kind of the same sort of puzzles in. Maybe I was just expecting a little more outside of just the narrative experience that did just get significantly better. It is definitely better when you look at it that regard. Maybe more the game aspects to it I thought might be built on somewhat versus Hellblade 1, where they made that for $10 million, they said. And I assume this one is like significantly more, like 4 or 5 times more at least, I assume. Just based on how long is in development and the technology that they called in.
Right. Look at the tech in this game. I mean, the motion cap they did in this game, the audio design, obviously the graphical design with Unreal Engine 5, all the, you know, the absolute finesse that they put into this game really does show. And I think, yeah, they invested a lot more money into this game, but, you know, maybe that's one of the criticisms of the game as well, in that maybe they focused too heavily on the technical side and maybe should have thought about more as far as gameplay or potentially adding more features to the universe itself. But I don't know. I respect the decision that they made. I think the game is good. But like I said before, it's not going to move the needle for Xbox and Game Pass, unfortunately. I think that's the real shame.
Is the technology better than the Matrix demo was?
That's a really good question, Sean. Like I kind of thought about that the other day, like looking at it and thinking to myself, is this kind of what we're expecting to see going forward? And is it something that's better than the Matrix demo? Some parts of it really just make me think that it is, but the Matrix there was so much, you know, cool stuff about that demo that they did implement into it. And to be honest, I mean, Hellblade 2, it's got that classic Unreal Engine rocks. There's just rocks everywhere. You know what I mean? I think having a big city like the Matrix demo and having that kind of seamless kind of city environment where you can just walk around and walk into buildings and stuff like that, I think technically that's still a little more impressive at this time. But it's a very, very good comparison for sure.
Is Unreal Engine rocks related to Metal Jesus rocks? I had another joke too about when you were talking about black bars. I was going to say, "Oh, would you prefer them to be white?" But it went too long, and I didn't get to make it. So
okay. I will say, if you have an OLED TV that you just got or you've had, and you want to put it through its paces, this is the game to load up. But give it at least an hour, because the first like 30 minutes was like kind of a slog. I will say that. Nate sent me like gameplay footage of it to post up on the Spawncast channel. And I was like, oh, cool. This is like the first 15 minutes. And then I put it up there and stuff. Everyone checked it out. And then I went to play the game when it did drop, right? We were going over it, and I was like, wait a minute, where's that gameplay? And I had to get like further into it to where I'm like, wow, okay, that the combat was actually way further in. So give it some time. It's not the greatest opening, I'll say, but yeah, I mean, it's 5.5 hours, so it's not like a super long game.
I hope you guys flood Sean's inbox with fight requests and all this other stuff for his stupid jokes, because I made one joke about people trophies and girlfriend not having girlfriend, a silly joke, and I had people trying to fight me and all sorts of stuff. So I hope he gets the same treatment. That's all I gotta say.
Well, then they can find me at Too Many Games, Oaks, Pennsylvania.
I hope so, because I have people trying to fight me, calling me names, sitting there writing paragraphs in John's comment section over a silly joke. So hope it's the same.
Makes me miss the pinatas. Those are the good days. But it's out now. It's on Hellblade 2 is out now. It's on Game Pass. So it's like, do you download it or not if you already have Game Pass? Like, I recommend downloading it. Would I recommend it for $50? That's hard. That is actually harder to just outright say yes.
I'd buy physical.
Yes.
I'd buy physical.
But digital.
This game reminds me a lot of something like Eco or something. Like Eco was not a big game either. It was like 6 hours. I mean, it was probably bigger than Hellblade 2. But it's just one of those experiences that you'll play once and you'll be like, man, that's kind of really, really awesome. I really enjoyed that, and you'll never play it again. But I don't know. I really like the game. I would definitely buy physical if it was available.
You can go back through, because they have they play around with like the narrators in the game, so you can change the narrator when you go through different chapters again, and it gives you a different kind of backstory and perspective to events happening. And then they have some stuff you can find, like these little mini towers right, that you run into. They have the faces and the rocks that if you focus on them, it opens another path, and then there's this tree that you're filling up with a circle, but that's about it. So a few things you can find here and there, a little, not really even collectibles, just things. But you have to stand right next to the tower for it to like tell you the little like voice memo thing. If you walk away from it, it stops playing. So you just have to stand there.
I noticed that too.
Wait. I was like, why is it doing this? So that was, but Hellblade 2, I mean, it's out now. It looks great. Best looking game I've ever seen. That's kind of it. I mean, again, narrative experience is good. You know, the only thing about this MVG is I feel like graphics in general just age worse than gameplay outright. So I like this game look is the best I've seen now, but I don't know if it'll be like that 5 or 10 years from now. And then it's like, what does the game have?
If graphics haven't evolved 5 to 10 years from now, there is something wrong with the industry. I think really this is kind of the first step into more Unreal Engine 5 type games. I mean, you know, we've heard rumors about like the next Gears of War game, Gears 6. I mean, I feel like Coalition, if whatever they got cooking, they'll show up with some really amazing looking graphics.
Should be 60.
So I mean, I think really this is kind of the first phase of some really, you know, important or big graphical improvements in games over the next few years.
Gordon mentioned Avowed moved to Unreal Engine 5.3 MVG. So Unreal Engine 5 starting to show up a bit more, which is good.
He also said that Starfield was coming out to PlayStation 5 this year, though. Remember that?
Well, maybe not this year, but stay tuned.
I got six minutes on my download for Hellblade 2.
Yeah, the game is actually not that big. Well, I mean, it's again a 5.5 for how it looks.
40 gig.
Yeah, for how it looks.
Gig.
I mean, we deal with 100 to 150 gig games constantly nowadays, so it's like, okay, 40.
Wii. Don't put me in with you.
How big is Call of Duty on your Xbox right now, Sean?
That's none of your business.
Cooked in 1 second.
You should be downloading X Define as well, Sean, while you're at it.
No. I watched it. It's that stupid fuck shit that the fucking what's the game? Overwatch. It's push the payload. I don't want that.
That's one.
I
of
don't
those.
want
There's
that.
a bunch of other ones.
It was in Paladins. It was in Overwatch. Come up with something different for Christ's sakes.
No,
like,
you must
what are
push
we
the
doing?
payload. No, push the payload and like it.
They have other
Like,
game modes
cool.
too, there,
It was
Sean.
cool 6 years ago. Like
Barely cool 6 years ago, dude. Barely.
Well, they have other game modes too.
It was different though. You didn't see like that mechanic in a game, so it was kind of unique. But now it's like, what are we doing here?
They had other ones though. They have like the hold the point where you have 3 different points on the map. Hold those. They have team death matches in there.
Wow.
Yeah, they have a couple.
Really breaking down barriers with that game.
It kind of feels like another Call of Duty mixed with some Rainbow Six Siege in there. That's kind of what it is.
I've watched some videos.
Yeah, I played it a bit this week. It was all right.
I don't know. I mean, it looks like a free game. What can I say?
It's a free game. So it's fine. Let me go over to let's talk about Paper Mario real quick. OJ, you've been playing some of it?
Yeah, playing a lot of it.
I played a couple hours of it so far. 2.5 hours. Okay, a couple hours. 2.5 hours of it so far. It is it's Paper Mario. Thousand Year Door from the GameCube. Just looks better at half the frame rate. I really don't have as much to say about this as I thought I would. I feel like people are just really excited that it's here and they're just kind of playing it again from the GameCube. Although I would have been curious to hear Josie's take on this, which I guess we can get it next week when she's on, because she has not played this game. And wait, MVG, you're supposed to be getting it for her, weren't you?
Yeah, she has the game.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so that's who I'm really curious to hear her take on the whole thing, because she has not played it, whereas some of us played it 20 years ago. So
yeah, I played it one time.
Tune into Game and Talk, fucker.
There you go. Good stuff. Tune in the Game and Talk.
There you go.
Go to what were you saying, OJ? Go ahead.
Yeah, I played it one time 20 years ago, and my life was completely different. 20 years ago, what I was doing, what I liked, all this different type of stuff. So I don't remember it. So I'm playing it. So it almost feels like new to me at this point because I didn't replay it or anything like that. And it's excellent. There's a whole nother thing with this game, right? That you see Paper Mario fans, which I've played pretty much every single Paper Mario game. I don't like the newer Paper Mario games. So everyone's kind of saying like, if this does well, they can go back to normal RPG Paper Mario instead of all the weird stuff that they try every single time. So like that's the thing, like with this game, like people are gonna wait and see how it does compared, so we don't get like Origami King again, you know, or we don't get like Color Splash and Sticker Star and these type of games.
Whoa. There was a song about Paper Mario Color Splash. Obi-Wan Plays, remember him?
I do remember Obi.
About that. Paper
Did he have
Mario
a song?
Color Splash. Y'all be hating. We get in cash. That was the whole song. He just repeated that for like a minute and 30 seconds.
Okay, it's better than me. I didn't make a song at all, so I mean, it's definitely better than me. But yeah, I mean, I think that song and the game probably aren't as good as Thousand Year Door. So I mean, like I think that's the thing about this. So this game's really good. It's cool. You know, turn-based RPG, intelligent systems, and like 6th gen games. I mean, I've said this before, but I love 6th gen games, man. They're so good. They're built so well. It seems like, you know, after the whole PS1 era, N64, they really mastered more 3D gameplay and design. And it's before the whole microtransaction situations that happened in the 7th gen. So it's like a perfect balance with games, you know, just modern enough and just old school enough, good touch. So yeah, I really like it a lot. I'm having a ton of fun. I'm just like kind of tearing through the game right now, enjoying it. Not using Super Guard, no Super Guard. It's too easy. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the mechanics. And please, Nintendo, do not make stuff like Origami King ever again, like the combat system. I think hopefully this
you know, like the puzzle mechanic where you spin and then move people around in lines and stuff to line them all up.
No, I mean that would have been cool for like let's say like a certain like dungeon or like a boss, right? Like, oh, okay, you can do this real cool thing, but for like a full battle system and then to not have any experience points where you just get coins that end up becoming useless. So it's like really there's no point in battling. At the end of the game ends up being like there's no point outside of you just lining up stuff. I mean, they're trying way too hard. Like that's the person who made that or the people that made that. They're like literally trying way too hard to just try to think of something as stupid as possible. Like it's not fun to play, you know. Paper Mario Origami King and Paper Mario games, they have good story, they have good graphics, they have good sound and music and writing. All that stuff's still intact. But the combat this combat is much better, much better than Origami King. So
the visuals look good too. They've translated well to HD, and it's again it's the same game I've played a couple of times now on the GameCube. Again, the thing I will say though is this is a game that I do hope Nintendo does something with, where people have discussed the idea of enhancements and stuff for next gen. I would like to see this game in 60 frames, and I know people say it's not as big of a deal because it's turn based and stuff. There is action elements in there technically for timing, but I actually think that some of the fluidity, just how it looks on the GameCube, did add to the visuals. I do think that had a really nice effect on how the game looked and how it was much smoother then. So I would like to see that them enhance.
You're right about that.
So
you're right about that, John. Here's what it affects for me. The combat in terms of like the actual turn-based combat doesn't really affect it too much because you're just standing in a play thing and like you're just jumping on people and hitting them with hammers and stuff. So that's not really a big deal. But actually moving on the screen, that's where like you kind of just see it, especially if you played it before, you know. That's where it actually affects it. So yeah, 60 frames version would be good, but yeah, it affects it like when you're just like walking across the screen and like it just doesn't look as fluid. And yeah, it has a little bit of hit on the visuals for some reason. I guess in portable mode, it doesn't seem as bad, maybe because it's on
it's a smaller screen.
So you don't notice it anywhere as much if you're playing it portable. But yeah, if you're playing it on a 4K TV or even just like a nice monitor, fast monitor, you can definitely notice it. And like that's my criticism as well, is like, yeah, it would have been nice if they can get that to 60 when it comes down to it. But yeah, hopefully they do that, because that'd be really good. That'd be really nice.
If it does get that, I think that'd be really impressive to see. So I hope so. I hope so. We don't really know what their strategy or plans are for that, but here's hoping.
Yeah, and
otherwise, the game itself is really good. So
yeah, did you guys see the Digital Foundry thing on it? Did you get a chance to watch that?
No, I didn't see that. No.
Okay, yeah, because like there was a little bit of like confusion or whether it's like a remake or like a remaster, and it seems like it's a remake, but there's like some things
like a remake,
that are like not, that are like kind of like just brought over. But most of the stuff is remade. A lot of the like the textures and the like the characters, like it has like a thick like cardboard cutout type look instead of more flat like the original game was on the GameCube. So yeah, so it seems like it's a remake for the most part, maybe part remaster, a little bit more remake. But yeah, there was a lot of discussion about that beforehand,
Well, if you've never played it before and you have no knowledge of the 60 frames on the GameCube and you just picked this up, it's a good game. So I think people will enjoy it. But it stood the test of time. I will say that.
Yeah.
It has. Let me go over to. Here we go. Oh, Sean, by the way, people are excited that you're coming out to TMG. So I think it's going to be a good time. People were also asking if we can record, Truly Epic asking if we can record the Spawncast panel. So maybe we'll post, I was saying we post that up as a Spawncast thing over on the Patreon.
Sean, who are you going to kick at too many games this year?
I don't know. I mean, I take it as it comes to me.
Okay. Well, make sure it's recorded.
People showing up there for you. You have a chance. Here we go. Okay. Jeff says, loved Super Mario RPG, but Paper Mario had been dragging for me through the first 2 chapters. Does it pick up, or is it more of the same? Debating dropping. Oh, it definitely picks up. I would stick with it, Jeff. I would stick with it. Some of the companion storylines, I'd say, especially in like the second half, get a lot better. So
and the badges, like I would say, make sure you upgrade your FP points and your badge points so you can actually equip a bunch of like cool badges and stuff. If you don't, like, if you just go to health, you're just not going to be able to equip all the cool stuff. That's a problem that some people have with the game.
Matthew says, just wanted to say I'm thankful for the Spawncast. As of today, I'm officially a subscriber to everyone here. Yeah, check out, I have everyone's channels linked down below in the description. Make sure you check them out. Everyone kind of does something a little different here. So definitely check out all the channels there. Michael says, excited for Clock Tower Rewind, but not the LGR bit. It'll get there eventually, the game. Victor says, when is the Stellar Blade review video coming, John and MVG? Maybe we could do it this week. This week coming up. Maybe we can get together for like a 20-minute video and go over Stellar Blade.
I beat the game 2 weeks ago, Victor. I'm not the one dragging my feet here.
I'm at the very end. I'm at the very end of the game. I gotta.
I don't know what to tell you. It's John. John is the issue here, Victor.
Hey, I went through Hellblade. I went through Animal Well, which Animal Well might be one of the...
almost beat Hellblade.
Now I think we'll get to it this week, Victor, because I feel like there is an interest in a discussion video around the game itself, because not a lot of people talk about the game itself, but everything else around it. Mighty Ryan says, what's everyone's favorite video game movie? I say there's Need for Speed.
Video
Mortal
game
Kombat?
movie.
Mortal Kombat. Which one? Which Mortal Kombat?
I like the Mario movie.
One.
I thought it was
First
cool.
one. Mario movie. Okay. The first one, I look back on it, that was definitely campy, but I don't know. There's something to it.
I'm going to go with Mortal Kombat.
Okay. Not the newest one. The first one. First one. What do you think, Ryan?
Probably the newer Mario movie, I would say.
Ryan, did you watch the Gran Turismo movie? Was that good?
I did not. No,
I heard it was actually pretty good.
I liked it. I actually liked that movie.
I've heard it's good because it's based on a true story. So I mean,
parts of it are overdone. I will say that, which you'd expect them to make it a little more dramatic, but it is kind of like, okay, I don't think this actually happened then, but okay, sure, whatever.
That's a Hollywood special though, like the movie Rudy. Like most of that.
Sean liked it too. Sean liked it too, right? Gran Turismo.
What the movie?
The movie.
Oh yeah, the movie was good.
What is your favorite video game movie, Sean?
The first Mortal Kombat.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, because it just made me rethink all of life when I saw it. Good game, good movie. The Trom says, no PlayStation Showcase, massive L. I will be skipping the state of play. I refuse to get hit with another 20 minutes of Death Stranding.
The week's not over. I'm
gonna go ahead and go print screen. All right, I got you, Trom. Metro says System Shock on console is awesome. Big W Night Dive. Liam says, did you see Microsoft had to confirm Ninja Theory isn't closing? Well, they have the next project apparently greenlit. So there you go. Oh, Vid says Hellblade 2 on a 32:9 screen has no black bars.
Calm down there, Mr. Moneybags.
Wow, 32 by okay.
You can't afford a 32:9 screen.
32:9. Jeez, okay.
How much is that?
That's like one of those Samsung Odyssey looking things, isn't it? Like it's like the massive widescreen that takes up like the entire desk.
Let's see here. 32.
Yeah,
I think it's 4, isn't it 3 4K panels next to each other, or 3 1440p panels next to each other?
It's pretty significant for that aspect ratio, for it to look right, because you can like stretch it and like mess around with the aspect ratio to get it to sit there, but it looks weird.
I got one for $800 on Amazon.
Wiley says Sony A95L or LG G4. Those are pretty comparable. I'd go with the LG. So I mean, the Sony's nice, but LG has been. It depends on what you're going to use it for, I guess, too. LG's been more game focused. Sony seems to be more like cinema movie focused. So for me, I would probably go with the G4. Spookier says, how do you feel about the next Elden Ring DLC?
I feel great about it. Pre-order confirmed. Can't wait.
JT Bell says, if RGT is a Nintendo YouTuber, Rosie O'Donnell got fat by the spoon.
I'm not. I got a PS2 video tomorrow, fucker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, PS2 emulation.
Yeah.
Doing the next Gran Turismo.
No, not yet.
No. Wow. Okay. Interesting. GameCube says Hellblade 2 is exactly what Xbox needed, but why does it feel like it's too late? Game looks crazy good though. Probably because we heard about it when the Xbox series was first announced.
Wait a minute. That is not what the Xbox needed. What?
Thanks, Fernando Gonzalez. For the visuals, they need that big graphics bump. They need to show that they can do it.
Okay.
And they got some of the other ones coming up.
It's called the Matrix demo. It showed that, and it didn't cost $50 if you didn't have Game Pass. It was free.
Well, that's true. Didn't. Let's go over to, I'm going to go over this because I do have to mention this. Sean was correct about this. All right, Sean, that has to do with the Xbox One and the PS4. Because I remember I feel like this was last year, maybe even earlier than that. You said that you thought that there would still be Xbox One and PS4 games getting announced in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to happen now.
Mm-hmm.
Because Call of Duty Black Ops 6 appears to be heading to the PS4 and the Xbox One. We playable on the VCR, apparently. And this was confirmed through GameStop, and then from there, it looks like we've also heard through like Activision Blizzard. It's a thing. The PS4 and the Xbox One are going to have a Call of Duty game 4 years into the generation, the next generation from them, and that would actually go quite a bit further than what we had with the 360 and the PS3. That's the next like comp you would have going to the PS4 and the Xbox One. That the cutoff was Infinite Warfare. Black Ops 3 was the last one of those systems, which would have been 2015. I mean, 3 Call of Duties. This will be the 5th Call of Duty on those last gen systems while the next ones are out, current ones are out, which feels like a long cross-generation period right now.
Well, this generation we're not leaving a hardware cycle that has esoteric hardware.
Yeah, apparently with Call of Duty.
Pretty similar.
Yeah, the Call of Duty, apparently the thing is they have that Call of Duty HQ, which if you have Call of Duty, you've noticed you just have an app on your dashboard that just says Call of Duty. You go in there and then you pick between all the current ones. And apparently that engine works fine on the Xbox One and the PS4, so they're going to keep going with it. But I see people online, I see people on podcasts, whatever, talk about this generation feeling underwhelming. And that you hear about how long this cross-generational period is going, and people wonder, obviously, is this holding back the current generation of systems? I definitely get why people are like, this feels underwhelming for the PS5 and the Xbox series to basically have these cross-generational games 4 years in, because this game's not coming out till we think late October, November. And I gotta admit, I'm ready. I think I'm ready. I'm ready to leave the VCR and that PS4 from 2013 behind.
Companies aren't though.
The thing about it is that we saw the report about like there's still like what 48% of people still on PS4. Like
half,
I get that, but it's like you're gonna be losing a lot of money. And Call of Duty is all about just making money. And it's Call of Duty. Like, are we looking for some type of big next gen or current gen experience innovation on Call of Duty? I mean, I don't know, man. I just think that's the type of game. It's like Fortnite, you know. At this point, you just kind of make it for everybody that wants to play because there's going to be a ton of people across mobile and console and all that. So, I mean, I get people want to leave that behind. And I think that it makes more sense for the bigger games. Like, let's say the next God of War. It makes more sense for, you know, the next, I don't know, Gears of War, stuff like that. It makes sense. But it's not sure if Call of Duty is the type of game to get up in arms about with this. You know, it's yearly. Every year they have a Call of Duty game, you know? So I get it. But, you know, I think that you'd be leaving so much money off the table because there's still a ton of people that feel that Call of Duty plays great on PS4 and Xbox One. So it makes sense that they're for this game that they're doing that. But I completely understand your viewpoint, John, you know, in terms of even like taking advantage of the next systems and all that. I don't know. It's Call of Duty. So
Call of Duty, I mean, we had a point where Call of Duty did feel like it was a next gen leap at times, especially back in the day.
Well, that was a long time ago. That was 2007.
Yeah.
that was 2007.
I mean, they did kind of expand some of the set pieces when they went to Infinite Warfare and stuff, but it's still Call of Duty. It's just interesting because it does feel like it is. Maybe it's not the case. It seems to me like looking at this feels like it's taking people longer to get to this next generation than before. I mean, we haven't had monthly active user access like, in terms of seeing the numbers like this because everyone's basically connected to the internet with their systems. It just seems that way looking at it, and maybe that's why people see the PS5 Pro and they just like I don't get it. I still use the PS4. What do we need that thing for?
Well, it's because software, John. I mean, there's not a lot of software where it's like I need to, you know, if you're happy with your system, that's the whole point of upgrading. When a new system comes out, it usually has some software to go along with it.
You need exclusive, Sean.
Yeah.
You
know, the thing that all these morons like to say, oh, exclusives are bad. Okay. If you get rid of exclusives, you're just fucking going to have one console manufacturer. Like, it's it's good. It creates new IPs. It creates competition. And if there's no competition, everyone gets stagnant. So yes, there should have been some bigger exclusives. And, you know, you could blame the pandemic, and I get that. That obviously did play a role. But at some point in time, you have to move on from using that excuse and get into the nitty gritty of, I mean, where are the games?
I mean, we had when the Xbox Series came out, remember, obviously when that came out, it was the same OS from the Xbox One. You just took one system out, put the next one in. It was still pretty much the same. But I mean, you could sync up your Xbox One controller to your Xbox Series. PS5 had a full, you know, new OS dashboard, that sort of thing. But then they started doing a lot of the cross-gen stuff with their big tentpole franchises, God of War, Horizon, even Gran Turismo. That started PS5 only. Then they threw the PS4 logo in. I was like, okay, this is cross-gen as well. And it kept going. And I kind of feel like looking at it, that's why people are just, it doesn't feel as as next gen, I guess, at this time as people were hoping. And that's why they still refer to it as next gen. You see articles written and they're like, next gen systems are getting this. It's like
grandiose. It doesn't feel as grandiose.
That might be the word then. Yeah.
But I mean, part of it is the law of diminishing returns too. Cause at some point you're going to you can only do so much in terms of visuals and stuff. And
bingo.
People don't mention that enough, Sean. I think that's a super good point. Like the law of diminishing returns is like legitimately like factual. There is no like, oh no. I mean, it's subjective in terms of how you feel from each jump, but the law of diminishing returns is 100% real. So it's going to get less and less impressive from one to another one. So that's a very good point.
That's the point. I think this conversation's pretty easy to have. These are both x86 platforms. We're well past like this obtuse, esoteric console hardware. It's like really financially viable to ship games across like all these machines now. And it's just the COVID delays played a big part. The diminishing returns means there's genuinely not this like sort of ceiling you can reach that the old machines on paper can't do. Like we even saw Ratchet go to PC and everyone freaked out. And it's like, well, Ratchet's one of those things where it leans really heavily into that SSD read speed. But even then, you put it on a Steam Deck, it's just going to hiccup a little bit during those, portal shifts.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of scalability nowadays. I don't know. Like I really enjoy this console cycle for what was like the immediate day one benefits, which is that if we're in diminishing returns, what's the improvement? Well, the day one improvement was higher resolutions, higher frame rates, handful of games having some RT baked in, load times. I don't know about you. I think that's like the best thing.
The load times are massive. Yeah. People don't even realize it until they go back to the old system and go, oh, that's right. We did have these bars that filled up. It took forever. Yeah.
Dude, it's awesome. Day one, load times immediately. It's great. So it's just it's diminishing returns. Games are getting better. They're looking more and more gorgeous and beautiful. But I would also make the argument that there's not that many publishers that can foot the bill for a crazy next gen experience anyway.
Yeah.
There's just not even that many publishers that can do it. Sony spent $380 million on Spider-Man 2, and they're just like, guys, we got to figure this out. This is super. Yeah, like what 7-8% margins. I mean, at that point, the money's better left in
AI.
The money's better left in a bank. The money's better left investing in the stock market. It's just, there's a ceiling. Not to say it can't get higher with like a PlayStation 5 Pro, but.
I was going to ask Ryan if we're okay. So we're looking at this law of diminishing returns, right? We're going to have this PS5 Pro that I guess it's going to do 4K better, that kind of thing, frame rate, right? That's what they'll sell it on, ray tracing. So then what will be the differentiating factor when it's time to introduce and market a PS6, say in 2027 or 2028?
John, that's the point I made many times over. Is that I feel like we could have not had a PlayStation 5 Pro because then you're taking away what a PS6 can do.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely thought at the start of the cycle, like we're not going to get a mid bump for Xbox and PlayStation. Now it would appear that Microsoft is taking a different path if the rumors are true that they're just going to ship a whole new box by 2026, and Sony's going to do PS6 by 2028, but we're getting a PS5 Pro this year. So they're actually definitely taking a different approach in that respect. But even with the availability of a PS5 Pro, it just leans into what I'm saying, which is just these incremental bumps, right? If you're happy on PS4, great. A lot of stuff's still shipping there. If you're happy with PS5, great. You're going to get support for the foreseeable future. It's options, And we're still seeing enough publishers finally target only these consoles. But yeah, I mean, something like Call of Duty, it's.
Could you imagine if 2026 comes around and Xbox has a new system and companies are still making fucking games for the Xbox One?
Well, I honestly, it could happen. I mean, we had EA announce that Jedi Survivor was being ported backwards to the Xbox One and the PS4, which is really weird. What's that?
Is that Jedi Survivor? Has it come out?
No, I don't think it's no, it's not out yet. Okay. I don't believe so. They announced, and that was the weirdest announcement. It's like, what? When has that ever happened? Where it's like, guys, big news, we're going back to the PS4. It's like, oh, okay, that was weird. It is interesting, Ryan, because that then brings up the conversation around is like the typical console generation that we've known this entire time in the gaming industry. Is that a thing of the past now? Do we need console generations anymore?
Well, at least on the Sony side of things, they're still pretty traditional. Like I expect a PlayStation 6.
Right.
I expect a PlayStation 7. I genuinely think we'll have standard boxes from Sony. Definitely Nintendo. Microsoft, who knows at this point.
Right.
But I would also make the argument too, at least like for this particular property, right? Because as you said, like this IP is going a little bit further in than what we saw from PS3 and 360. Microsoft now has a commitment to ship on Nintendo, right? And the word there is that they're going to start on the next Switch.
Yep.
So given where that thing is, just in terms of sheer performance, right, where it's going to be now punching a little bit above a PS4 or an Xbox One, Even does that not like even justify further that you can just keep shipping more SKUs on those boxes if people are just fine and happy playing on those machines?
Yeah, I mean, it does. It's just I do wonder. So let me ask you, MVG. The more SKUs, the more configurations you add, specifically when it comes to porting or developing. I mean, at what point do you go, okay, that's enough. We got to get this thing out there and make sure we pass all our checks and our bugs. Or like we're talking about, we just brought up the PS4, the PS4 Pro, the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X, PS5, PS5
Series
Pro,
X.
Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S. I'm on 9 right now. Then we get into the Switch. We'll say Switch 2. It's 10. I do wonder when you start going, wow, that's a lot. We should probably start cutting something out here because this is getting a little out of hand. Is there a point where you get to for that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, more than one SKU per hardware, platform is a lot for most developers to think about, right? So I think if you have 3 or more, then that almost becomes unsustainable at some point. I think, with the Xbox One, right? Like, yeah, Call of Duty's coming out for it, but what if it's just dropping it as a cloud game or something? Because they've done that before, remember?
Oh, that's
you know what I mean? Like they may not actually commit like a ton of resources to the Xbox One version. They may just drop it as a cloud version or something at the end of the day. So we don't really know, but yeah, I mean, we've seen even with the Series S, there's been developers that have come out and sort of had criticisms about the Series S. A lot of them say, they talk about the performance and the lack of memory and stuff like that. But I think ultimately developers are frustrated that they have to target more than one SKU per platform.
There was a big update on Call of Duty for the Nintendo Switch 2 today. OJ knows.
Thank you, Sean.
You're stupid, man. You're dumb.
The Nintendo Switch 2.
So here's a question I have for MVG.
Good.
Right, because for my line of thinking is for like a super big publisher with a very popular franchise where they invest so many resources into this game, would it be fair to say that for them there's a lot of upside to targeting that many SKUs? Because I mean, that's the other thing. I think as you're getting at, like, there's so many studios that are not going to put up with like shipping on like 9 different machines at that point.
Right. But if we're talking about Call of Duty, even if Xbox gets 1% of the market share, and I'm being extremely, pessimistic about that 1%, it's probably more than that, but that's still 1% of how many million people play Call of Duty. So I think that's probably the reasons why. But you can't just take any game and then say we're going to bring it everywhere, because ultimately your development costs are going to exceed the amount of money that you start bringing in, your return on investment. But with Call of Duty, it's basically, we have so much money. This is a huge platform. We're going to make billions of dollars. Let's bring it. Let's push it out everywhere. It reminds me of the days of like when Mortal Kombat 2 dropped on Mortal Tuesday. It was like available on every platform at the same time. Even like the Game Gear, and was there a Game Boy version? I don't remember. But yeah, there was, wasn't there?
There was Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. I used to play Mortal Kombat 2 in church.
Yeah,
and I would do fatalities.
It's kind of going back to those days where
it just seems wrong. I think something bad's gonna happen to you later when doing stuff like that.
I was bored.
Oh, I do love those old commercials for like a licensed kids game or something. And right near the end, you'd see all the platforms, and it was PS2, 360, DS, GBA, Game Boy, and it was just like so many. But at the same time, like on the handhelds, you were getting a completely different game, and like 4 or 5 studios were probably involved across all versions.
I mean, let's be clear though, the Xbox One version is going to be a completely different game as well. It's going to look like smeared Vaseline rubbed over your television, running at 20 frames per second. That's what.
Remember Black Ops 3 when that came out on the PS3 and the 360? That was not a good experience.
Oh, didn't they outsource that too? Like they outsourced that one to a different.
I thought, I thought they did. I had to look to see exactly what it was, but I feel like they did, because even then they were kind of like halfway out the door on that. Like, let's see if somebody can handle it. No, okay, cool. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Infinite Warfare, that's next gen only.
Because they also skipped single player for Black Ops 3 on past gen too.
Just multiplayer.
Just straight up said, we know what you guys want, and this is all we're giving you.
Hey, they were upfront about it. It was right on the front of the box. It says internet required, right on the front. But the MG is interesting. You bring up the cloud thing because I saw Steven Totilo did an entire piece around the idea of half of the people for monthly active users for Sony still being on the PS4. He did bring up that there were many people on the Xbox One that you talk to just play cloud versions of these Xbox Series games.
I want to challenge that right now.
What he said. That's what he said.
Let's not be ridiculous here. How many people does that really make up
10,
of the
12.
entire install base?
I have never really tried. I should break out the VCR and just see how that cloud experience really is.
I don't care what console it is. Streaming, come on. Let's not humor the idea that's a lot of people.
Most people don't have internet good enough to stream like that, right? Like,
I mean, I wouldn't tether to your phone because it would shoot through your data in like 30 minutes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure some people do, but I don't think that's a normal occurrence for people, especially like more casual gamers and stuff like that. They probably just download the game, right? Just digitally, or just go to the store and buy it.
The
if they
VCR.
can. Yeah, I don't know how many people got the VCR. How many people really got the VCR playing games like that?
I got one.
Know.
Mine has an SSD in it.
Yeah,
We're doing it.
You're also crazy, John.
I mean, I did a video on it, Sean. That's why.
Poor kids. Here's the
Otherwise,
real
I wouldn't
question.
want it in there.
What will drop last gen first? Call of Duty or EA Sports FIFA or FC?
Oh yeah, because wasn't that the last, or it's Pro Evolution Soccer? When it was soccer football game that was the last one on the PS2.
What will drop
right?
last?
Well, which franchise will go further? Which one will drop? FIFA, really?
Yeah.
Because didn't that go on like, I don't know, this is a while ago now, but like 2018 shipped on PlayStation 2 and Wii or something like that.
Yep.
For FIFA, no, they had 2014 right on the PS2.
Yeah, 2014.
And that was 13 years from the PS2 release.
13, okay.
To it coming
I'm thinking
out. So there was 13 years.
PS3.
That's a lot of support. Yeah, but like that was 13 years, and now I'm looking at this and going, okay, that was 2013. 25. If they get 2 more years, somebody does out of the PS4 and the Xbox One, that would technically tie the PS2's generation, which is ridiculous to think about because that was only in specific regions. I think they did that too. Pro Evolution Soccer. So I don't know. I feel like Call of Duty Warzone specifically, they're going to try to drag this thing out as long as they can. Fortnite might try to drag this out as far as they can too.
Well, I think at that point you would just judge it on content drops, right? Like when is it going to not get like a new battle pass and all that stuff?
If we still hear about the PS4 when we start hearing rumors that the PS6 is coming next year, that is going to be a weird.
You're
weird
going
timing
to.
game.
You're going to.
You gotta let go of it. You gotta let go of that PS4, that 2013 PS4 eventually.
I mean, I was told that what I saw with the PlayStation 5 was only possible through the power of the PlayStation 5, and that was a fucking lie. That was 4 years ago. I was told that
Dude is he's retired. He's out of here.
Fuck. Because you retired doesn't mean that you're not a fucking liar.
He just needed to sell you the PS5. That's it. His job's done.
He took your money.
Well,
did his job.
Made a video.
He even sold you a PSVR 2 just for fun.
Yep. Took your money for that as well.
Have they? Well, they're opening it up to PC, aren't they?
Yeah, allegedly.
Maybe.
Good luck with that.
That'll be cool.
Your PC is actually out in the living room, isn't it? Your 3080?
No, my 3080 is downstairs, hooked up to a TV there's a futon in front of it.
Yeah. But like it's on a TV and stuff, so you could use. Yeah. Okay.
I moved my racing cockpit down there, so hopefully they do add that, so I can use the headset. This combat's very easy. I'm noticing.
Are you playing Hellblade right now?
Yeah, I'm just mashing buttons, and then
it's not supposed to be hard, dude. It's a narrative experience.
Well, I mean, you can still make it a little challenging.
Well,
no, it's a narrative experience.
Give a shout out to Victor, came in with the big super chat. Shout out to Victor Perez. They said finished the boss rush challenges on hard mode difficulty. The 2 Midsummer, Alice, and Red Hood suits for Eve that come with patch 1.003.000 are sort of an apology from Shift Up for censoring several suits from the original Stellar Blade build 1.000.000 because they are super revealing. Yeah, I saw they had a patch that went out and added some new suits, so hopefully everyone's happy now.
They had super revealing suits in before the patch. Like there was a bunch of like literally just like bikini and like skimpy outfits that were more revealing in the base game, like from what they shipped. So I mean,
well, it seems like they put suits in that represent the original ones or something. Either way, it seems like it's all there now. So I hope people just enjoy the game now because game's fun. So also, I've seen so much of that on X that I hope that solved the problem. I really hope it did. Shout out to Victor Perez. Appreciate it. We'll come back around to when we go through here. And yeah, so that's, I mean, I don't know. This generation thing, it's I get it. I get why people are.
Is this? Are people outraged about this? What about Just Dance on the Wii? No one complained about that. Everyone was like, "Look at that! That's so awesome."
It's Just Dance. It's Just Dance. I think people are just
same thing, man.
Yeah,
I guess. Didn't see any videos about that.
Is it though?
Yes,
they were holding it back. That game could have been so much more. It was only
it really could have. I mean, Michael Jackson, The Experience. That game was awesome. You know, I mean, Just Dance.
That game could have been better without the Vita version.
That came out on 3DS too.
There you go.
How do you play that on 3DS?
Touchscreen.
I bet it's kind of cool though, right?
Isn't it like an Elite Beat Agents on 3DS?
Yeah, it might actually respond better than the Wii version of the game, which barely. It's not accurate at all, but it's fun because it's Michael Jackson music.
Let me go over here to. Well, we're just going to bring this up. Atari bought Intellivision.
Oh, who cares?
I have to bring it up, Sean. I have to. Atari bought Intellivision. They left Amico with the company. Apparently, the company's going to rebrand, and they're supposedly going to continue their development on the console.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Shout out to Tommy.
I had to at least mention it. Okay, so that ends. I don't know. It wasn't a console war back in the 80s. It ends the console war from the early 80s. So Atari bought them finally.
Fuck Atari. Fucking television.
We also had so we do have rumors around Astro Bot. This has now reappeared. D-Lab's actually reported on this. It's going to get announced in the next 2 weeks. They said 15 days, and that would make sense considering we're expecting either a showcase or a state of play probably this week coming up. Since there's 7 days left in May, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, take your pick basically for an event. I don't think it's gonna be on Friday. It won't be on Monday. So there you go. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I assume announcement Tuesday. It'll happen on Thursday, if I had to take a guess. But Astro Bot, excited for it. Apparently, it's not going to be a VR-only title. It could still be VR, which might not be a bad idea since that VR2 needs help. They sold Sean one. They sold me one.
They
dead. Sold Ryan one.
Make the PS5 version the normal version.
Hey, it's good. You're just not going to get first-party stuff for it.
Financially,
that would be an awful decision.
Just let me play it on my PC, please.
You bought a PlayStation VR2
under the assumption that PlayStation would make games for it.
Why? Why
would
you
they
do
didn't
that?
make games for PSVR 1 that much, dude?
No, they did. They made a few.
Yeah, there was more. There's more than there is on this thing.
I mean, they made some, but it wasn't like it was an overwhelming amount of like games.
Look, you're not going to put Naughty Dog on PSVR 2. You're not going to put Sucker Punch on it.
Well,
you're not going to do that. So
y'all were
buying
really
PSVR 2, you're buying PSVR 2 for VR games from VR Studios. Point blank.
Like
there was no universe.
Is that
where you were getting VR stuff from PlayStation Studios?
What about that fucking that new Batman shit? Is that coming out on fucking PSVR?
I think that's Oculus. That's Oculus. That's Meta.
What the
Meta?
See, okay, that's PlayStation's fault. PlayStation is like, hey, let's put this on here. Let's do that. That's cool. People would like that, but no.
That's a fair argument. I think they need to be partnering more with because that's how they have to do it.
Yeah.
They have to approach more VR studios and say, ship on our headset.
There's no excuse for that to not be coming to fucking PSVR 2.
Meta seems pretty aggressive with some of that stuff now, getting like the new Batman Arkham game after everyone had to sit through Suicide Squad and see what happened there. You can buy a Quest 3 and play the new Arkham game.
How much are they?
The Quest 3, I think it's 500.
At least there's shit for it. Hey, whatever happened to fucking San Andreas? Whatever fucking happened?
I don't know. I was curious too. I'm wondering what happened with that as well, because I feel like they showed that like a year or two ago, didn't they?
No, they never showed it. They just talked about it.
Well, like they announced it. Yeah, they talked about it. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. We'll get Mark Zuckerberg on the line.
Because I mean, Resident Evil 4 VR was fucking badass. The the original.
No, it was good. Yeah, that was really well done on the Quest 2. So I assume San Andreas should be decent enough. I hope that they're taking so long because maybe they have, I don't know, unique features or something set up for it, kind of like RE4 did. So that'd be cool. But the Quest 3, I understand why it's selling as well as it is. Like that is like the lead headset right now, and it makes sense when you see stuff like that pop up. But
yes.
I wouldn't necessarily push back though, Ryan, if they had Astro Bot have something with VR, not necessarily a main component, but like a side thing for VR. It's like, oh yeah, we can build out for. We did Astro Bot on the PS4 with VR. Obviously, we could throw something in here, but it is primarily a 3D platformer like Astro's Playroom, just with a larger budget.
Mm-hmm. Now, I would have hoped for a PSVR 2 mode, since that's where Astro has its roots. But I'm just excited that this IP is going to get like a fair shot at like having a premium release title that most people can play.
Sony's best-selling game right now is Astro's Playroom. You got to capitalize on it. 56. What did they announce? 56 million shipped. Hey,
59.2.
Needs a sequel. There we go.
Although that's if we're gonna play that game, then that means actually they sold like 19 million because the Playroom ships on PS4.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Hey, I'll take it. I'll take either whatever gets me a new Astro game. That's fine, and whatever justifies them throwing millions and millions of dollars at it.
How many people know this IP? It shipped on PlayStation 4 day one, but nobody had a PS4 camera.
Yeah, that's true. No one really did have that, did they?
Yeah. Nobody took their DualShock 4 and swiped a little Astro Bots out of their controller in 2013.
Hey, I did that. That was cool as hell.
Yeah.
That was cool as hell.
You could shake it around. You could hear the little Astro Bots in there. Real OGs were fucking with Astro in 2013.
And finally, Astro gets their shot.
Yep.
I had no idea what it was. I'm sorry. I bought my PS4 and it came with The Last of Us, and I was like, "Oh, cool, The Last of Us." That's what I played.
You didn't see that little tile on the screen with the camera and it said Playroom?
Absolutely not. You
saw it. Saw it.
I did not see. I don't remember it.
He walked right past.
Installed.
I don't remember. All I remember was just saying, "Hey, cool, The Last of Us." And
you had 4 tiles. You boot that thing up. There's 4 tiles: camera, game, store, Playroom. You didn't see it? Sorry.
Oh no, I saw it. I didn't click it.
Don't believe you.
Yeah, I didn't click it. I did it. I wanted to play The Last of Us. I downloaded The Last of Us, and I was like, cool. This is what I bought Infamous Second Son. There we go. And I bought Infamous Second Son and The Last One. And I was playing Infamous. That was what I was excited to play. Infamous Second Son. That was the game. So
good choices.
Do you think they try to do some kind of narrative with Astro, or they just keep it pretty straightforward? I mean, it crossed my mind for a minute.
Probably some little cutesy story. I don't know. I can't imagine it's going to be anything like that's not similar to what like Little Big Planet was doing.
Sure. I like what I'm hearing. The fact that they're going to seemingly have an Astro game ready to roll. So I guess coming out later this year, most likely. I'd take a guess. So that's exciting. That is one that I'm really looking forward to here, which we'll stay tuned for. Again, I think maybe Tuesday we get that announcement. A couple days. So get your predictions videos ready, I guess. And so here's I saw, Sean, you talked about this today. Doom Dark Ages.
Yeah, Medieval Times.
Okay.
I also talked about how there needs to be a Medieval Times expansion.
The restaurant?
Yes. Why is there only like a select handful of those?
Where's the nearest one to you?
I think
Wait,
fucking Jersey.
Is the medieval times the place where they there's like a show and it's
yes,
like a Coliseum and they feed like a big old chicken?
Yes.
Yes, I went to that. My old football coach took me to that so long ago, decades ago. I remember going to that. Yeah, that was cool.
But see, you went decades ago, yet you still remember it.
Yeah,
that's how good it was. Exactly.
It's been a while since I've gone to that too. And this says it's an hour away from me.
You need to fucking go take the kids. Do something with your children.
We'll see some medieval violence while we eat chicken.
Have you ever been?
It's actually cool. Yeah.
Cool. I went there when I was younger.
Okay.
I do remember it.
Place is fucking awesome.
Yeah, there's one in
person. I was like, they just died.
I think there's one in Anaheim.
Okay.
That's somewhat close to me. So maybe I'll go to that when my boy gets older.
I remember from the cable guy too.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I didn't realize there was one an hour from me. Maybe I will go there at some point.
It's the one in Jersey, right?
No, this one's in Baltimore.
Oh.
Oh no,
one in Jersey can't be that far from me either.
Let's skip that one, John. No, I'm just messing. Shout out to Juice Man.
I mean, there's a couple around the tri-state area, so most of them are probably like an hour to an hour and a half away from me. So it might be kind of fun. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been to one. I mean, anyone in the chat been there in the last I'll say month or two? Let us know if it's still fun.
Of course, it's still fun.
Well, I don't know. I mean, things can change. Different times now from when we were younger.
It's medieval. Medieval times don't change.
Either way, Doom, Dark Ages, and okay, so this is what we were expecting them to announce during their Xbox showcase that happening June 9th. And Nate had to just throw this out there. Couldn't hold it, of course, for Direct Xbox, which is happening at some point. It's just
where was this week's show? Huh?
Nate's busy, and then I was tired because I drove all through New York in one day.
Poor baby.
You didn't go?
To what? The Aces thing?
New York? No, I don't know what you're talking about. New York. You didn't go to New York.
Who cares?
God. Anyway, so Nate said that it is also going to be announced seemingly for PlayStation. So that's going to be a multi-platform release that they're going to announce at their showcase. So I figure maybe there'll be some other announcements there too. But this is for PlayStation. That's an interesting decision. But Bethesda, id, maybe they just were pushing for it and they wanted to release on more than just Xbox, I guess, and PC. But that's gonna be a weird. I feel like that's gonna be kind of weird at their showcase to have PlayStation getting thrown around as well. But that's the times we're in right now. Generations merging together, different platforms at these shows. Is it
as part of that FTC trial? We saw those emails from Bethesda leadership. They weren't necessarily thrilled with having their games go exclusive like that. So I assume there was some pushback, and then, with the more recent developments of the CEO and CFO, really changing up the entire Xbox strategy, I would assume they kind of got their way with that.
So just very quickly, we've got there's one in Atlanta, Georgia, Baltimore, Buena Park, California, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Lyndhurst, New Jersey, Myrtle Beach, Orlando, Scottsdale, and there's one in Toronto, Canada. Ugh, imagine going to medieval times.
Sean, if we go to Super Nintendo World when that opens in Orlando, we can also go to medieval times.
Did you say there's one in Toronto?
Yeah.
All right, I'm close to that.
I've been to the one in Orlando. I've been to the one in Orlando because I went with my parents once, and then I went once to the one in Jersey. How much is this shit?
I didn't know it was called Buena. You said what was it?
$50 to $100.
California. Buena. I thought it was Anaheim. I guess it's close to Anaheim or wherever that place is you said in California.
It's $67.95 per adult.
Okay, that's the whole show, dinner, whole thing, right? Okay.
Yeah, get a buxom wench to bring a big turkey chicken thing.
Okay. Well, the Super Nintendo World opens next year, and hey, there's medieval times there, so there you go. Do that as well.
Honestly, I'd rather just go to medieval times than Super Nintendo World, but
you do both.
Yeah,
they have that. That's where the whole park is opening at Orlando. They're doing a whole thing with that. So that's where they have the one theme park that's based around like horror movies and stuff, or like a horror setting. You don't see that very often. Yeah, didn't you see that? Like they're doing a whole like redo, like they're redoing like the whole park, so it's all these different sections and stuff for Universal.
Yeah, Universal, they got rid of all the good stuff though. No more Back to the Future, no more Jaws. They redid the Jurassic Park ride. You know, they don't have the Terminator 2 show anymore. That was fucking awesome. Did you ever go to that? Like you wore these glasses, like you sat in an audience and you wore these glasses, and it was like a live stage show. It was like a 4D thing where like weather effects would come on you and stuff.
I don't think I did that one. We definitely did one where there was weather effects, but that was a long time ago when I went. Like because I think they had the whole Harry Potter section, which was like ultra popular, but then they had like Marvel and some other stuff there too. They had one where you walk through as a whole movie, where they directed a movie while you're walking through, and they had like earthquakes and stuff happening all throughout it. And then at the end they showed it to you, like everybody in the crowd going through. But
they ever like Twister. That. Remember Twister? They had a Twister thing there where it was like you would stand in line and then like it would simulate a fucking tornado like in front of you. That shit was wild.
Yeah, I don't think they had that. No, the one I had.
Which is weird because they're making a new Twister. So why get rid of it? You fools. Everything old is new again. You don't get rid of the old shit.
Sean, do you think it's a mistake for them to announce Doom Dark Age for PS5?
Oh yeah, there's nowhere King Kong either. The writer. They got rid of fucking King Kong. That shit was epic. And then at the end, you would have the big King Kong, and you could stand in his fist and take the picture. Somewhere at my grandma's house, there's pictures of me with Kong. What was the question? Do I think it's a bad decision?
Yeah. You think it's a good or bad idea for them to launch it on PlayStation as well as Xbox Game Pass?
I mean, what's your this comes back to the main problem here. Mm-hmm. What is your vision for this company? Are you a software company? You just want to put your games on stuff, or do you want people to buy your hardware? If you want people to buy your hardware, make good exclusive games and they will come. If you want people just to buy your games, then put them on everything. But what's the point of having the hardware? You know, and I get it, you know. Yeah, okay. Well, you could buy it on PlayStation or you could play it on Game Pass, but the average consumer does not own both consoles because both consoles is like it's like $1,000. Okay. In this economy, nobody's doing that. They're buying one console and they're playing their games on that one console. All of us people on here, we're the outsiders. We're the weirdos. So they're just gonna buy it on PlayStation, and if that's what you care about is just game sales, then fine. But I don't understand why you have hardware and why you're buying up these companies and then just putting your games on other platforms. Like, I don't. It's weird. Like I understand it, but it just goes into Xbox's vision, and what is their vision? Who the fuck knows?
It's kind of scattered, kind of spread out a bit.
Extremely. Okay. I got the first achievement here in Hellblade.
It's like 100 achievement points immediately.
Open up photo mode.
Oh yeah, go and just do that real quick.
You get a quick
get achievement for opening photo mode. MG's right.
Yep, I sure did. Worth 1,000 words. Open photo mode.
There you go. There you go. Ryan, what do you think, Ryan? You feel compelled to buy or play these games on the Xbox if they're just there on the PlayStation? I kind of already know the answer, but I figured.
Well, in this context, going back to when all this started, it was a third-party publisher. I was always getting these games on my PlayStation. Mm-hmm. So again, I don't necessarily agree with what Microsoft was doing at the time. But if they're just going to keep shipping on PlayStation, then yes, I will buy the PlayStation version.
There you go.
But, it's as Sean said, they've taken a completely different turn. There's still upside though. If you're playing on Xbox, you still get it on Game Pass. If you want to be a PlayStation bozo, you got to drop $60, $70 for it. So
you bozo.
Do you think that it's enough incentive for someone to want to buy an Xbox and then sign up for Game Pass if they already have a PlayStation?
I can't answer that. What I can say is that that's what the company's doing now, because clearly hardware is not working out for them.
Right.
I mean, it's so bad when you like year over year they're down 30%. Year over year, that means the prior year they're down 30. Now they're down another 30. This thing can't keep up with the sales pace of Xbox One, which I think these machines are way better than Xbox One. They've just got a problem. I'm still disappointed that Team Xbox couldn't get more time to let all these acquisitions like properly bear fruit, because it's going to take like 10, 15 years for that sort of brand image to change after a number of games are only shipping on Xbox. But Microsoft just doesn't want to keep eating.
They ain't giving them 20 years, bro.
That's the problem, though, is that it would take that with how long games take to make.
Phil Spencer got 10 years. He got 10 years.
I know, but like I'm saying, now all the acquisitions happened. Like again, the comparison I use here is like PS3 in one cycle was able to really change its appearance, because you could have multiple PlayStation developers ship a game, a sequel, a new IP, all in the same cycle. Right. You want that same thing now? It's going to take like 15, 20 years.
That's why that was the last great generation.
I understand, man, but like,
no, 100%.
Yes. Xbox 360, PS3 was the last great generation.
Great. Wow. I would say PS4, Xbox One were good. They weren't great. Me and Scott the Waz have a video coming up sometime on his channel discussing this for like an hour and a half. But yeah, that was the last great generation, because budgets weren't that high yet. So you still had creativity, you still had middleware companies, you had the introduction of online infrastructure, meaning that you had online, digital games that you could buy, smaller titles, so you didn't have to blow your load on everything. You had companies just firing on all cylinders, and yes, PlayStation got out of the gate very sluggish, but once Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, I had to get a Best Buy credit card to buy that, because I did not have money to buy a PlayStation 4.
Got the store
or PlayStation 3.
I have to agree with Sean once again. That is, for me too, that seventh generation, things started getting a little wonky after that. I mean, think about it. We've talked about this before. Look at the Resistance games. You had three Resistance games, 3 Uncharted games, a ton of different style new IPs. You had SOCOM, even though it wasn't that great, but whatever. You had SOCOM, you had like them making like MAG and all sorts of weird stuff. You had Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon, you had Fable games, Fable 1 and Fable 3, Fable 2 and Fable 3, plus like the Fable like remastered one Gears as well. War. Like you had a bunch of Gears games. You just had a
Halo.
Tons of Halo games. You had a bunch of games across all the different. Like it's not even close in today's day. Like if you look at like the games with like the exclusive line, it's not even close. They're relying on what was it? They're relying on like MMOs. Like look, we got Skyrim in that. We got Oblivion and Skyrim. We got Fallout 3, right? And we got Fallout 4. That was on the next one, but we got New Vegas. We got New Vegas. We got multiple Fallout games. We got multiple Gears. We got so many different types and variety of games in that PS3. 360 Wii generation, and after that it became not as frequent
because the budgets got high.
Yeah, the budgets got out of control, and they started downsizing with what they were going to bring out in terms of IPs. Like it's crazy. Even like unique stuff, like I talked about Enslaved earlier from Ninja Theory. Like it's like the games that Ninja Theory would make in that generation were also kind of nuts too, right? So it's like, I don't know, man. I have to agree that was probably the last great gen, and after that, to me, it's kind of going downhill with Microsoft and Sony.
My question around this out is I'm curious how they're going to actually announce it, as in when the trailer is actually happening during the live stream. I assume they would not do this, but do you name every platform? Or do you only name Xbox and then do a press release after, and then that's where you confirm PlayStation?
This is what you do, Ryan. You say first on Game Pass, and that's all.
So I feel like it's a very agnostic. Because this is the problem with watching any of these presentations, that you always wonder, all right, but is that coming to X, Y, and Z platforms? Yeah. So it's like almost always a press release after that's going to say it's coming to PlayStation.
I don't even necessarily mind that though, because it's like they're the ones that are putting it out there. So, it makes their presentation look better. And if it comes out on another platform, like that's the thing, whatever. Like you weren't the one who announced it. You weren't the one who showcased it first. But with Xbox, I feel like it's definitely a bit of a different story. I don't think you fucking mentioned PlayStation. No. I'm not. But then again, Xbox is fucking dumb half the time. So who knows what they're gonna do? They'll probably be like, available on PlayStation 5 and Xbox. They'll probably say PlayStation 5 first. Like, fucking A.
But they've, we've talked about this, but they've got to release on, like, you have to release on PlayStation. Like, if you're making a new Doom game, you can't just say, oh, well, you just download it on Game Pass, and that's not going to move the needle for Game Pass. Like, in order for Game Pass to work,
it might help. It might help start.
No, it's not going
to.
It's going to help a little bit, but it's not going to help enough. MVG did a great video on this where he talked about it in terms of Xbox. There's not subscribers. Netflix works because there's a ton of content coming out all the time. You don't have the development teams and budgets to make a bunch of stuff all the time and then release all that stuff on Game Pass without having 50, 60, 70 million subscribers. They're not anywhere near that. So I don't think a Doom game is going to all of a sudden get 10 million people all of a sudden to buy the system and get it. So you have to release on PlayStation. Otherwise, you might be losing money. You might be losing money, or you're not. It's not going to be funded. I mean, it's not going to get the amount of money that they need, the profit margins that they truly need. I mean, look at what happened with, and I know this is different, but we talked about this, but look at what happened with Tango, right? It hit every metric. Right? According to them, it hit every metric. Well, I guess it didn't, right? I guess it didn't hit every metric. We don't even know what the metrics are anymore. We have no idea what Microsoft even considers a success or not, because they've eliminated game sales from the vocabulary. They've eliminated console sales from the vocabulary. Like they just say it's just sometimes it does good. I mean, I don't even know what they consider good or not anymore, because they don't talk about game sales, and Game Pass has been stagnant. And even if it does good, they'll tout, oh, look at how good Hi-Fi Rush did, right? 3 million players and all this. Oh, well, not good enough. Shut down the studio.
But if you want Game Pass to grow, don't you kind of need exclusives for it? Like, no, it's a situation that Xbox themselves have created. So there's really, I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer. But like, if you want to be in this space as a hardware company and as a company providing a subscription service, like you have to try something different, because what you're doing now, it's not really working, Well,
that's what they're doing though, right, Sean? They're saying, hey, we're going to go on PlayStation, and
I guess
we're going to sell on PlayStation, and we're going to continue to do this. So now, like, hey, if people don't really subscribe to Game Pass, and we don't see that tick up in revenue because more Game Pass subs, that's okay. We'll make it up with PlayStation sales, right? So
maybe.
I feel like every time the Xbox owner has the best chance of going to Game Pass. So you feel like if they could sell 100 million Xboxes, they would have significantly more Game Pass subscribers than they do right now with like 32 or 33. It seems odd to not want to push the hardware more when that's clearly the consumer that they feel like would be most likely to subscribe.
You guys are all making
very interesting
great points. You're right. The more systems, and I've said this before, like but Phil Spencer, this is not something we said. Phil Spencer came out and said, oh, it's not about system sales. He's the one who's saying that.
I mean, we found our answer this week. The answer this week is they got to buy Valve. Like, that's what happened, right? That was going around Twitter.
So Phil Spencer even said on the Kind of Funny podcast, it's not about just making a bunch of games. Not my words, his words, okay? He said it's not just about having a bunch of games. It's not just about consoles. Dude, what the hell is it about? What is it about, dude? There's no metrics for this company when it comes down to what they think, at least from what they'll let us know about. Maybe there's internal, but
revenue. They gotta come out for their showcase, show some good games, and cross their fingers and hope. So I think they're gonna have a good showing. Like, I think their showcase is gonna be pretty good.
For PS5 owners, probably.
I'm gonna quiz Nate on what he's trying to allude to with the JRPG Blue Dragon thing. So we'll get to the bottom of that.
Well, what are you going to quiz him about? You said it's Blue Dragon. Everyone thinks it's Lost Odyssey.
Nate already said it's Blue Dragon?
I don't think he did. I think John's just a fucking idiot. And
Jez Gordon teased Blue Dragon.
Okay, so Nate, like a Blue Dragon remaster.
Nate posted an image of a Blue Dragon.
Oh, okay, cool. No, that's good. That's good. Like a Blue Dragon remaster.
Jets Gordon said something like, "There's a nice JRPG surprise for those."
Oh, that was Nick from Xbox Era too, right?
No, it was Jez in his article on Windows Central.
Oh, he said that there was something for JRPG.
Yeah, he said for those people that are feeling blue about lack of JRPGs on Xbox, there's a nice surprise or something.
Did he give an update on the Starfield coming to PS5 this year with alongside of the DLC?
No.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about Blue Dragon.
There you go. Say Blue Dragon remaster or remake, or I have played it recently, and it could use some help. It could use some help.
It could use some, yeah. Lost Odyssey's much better on like the Xbox One and Xbox Series hardware than Blue Dragon fared. So
yeah, I just popped it in because Nate and I were talking about Mistwalker in one of the Direct Xbox shows, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll pop that in. See, it's fully backwards compatible. I have the game. Like I just popped the disc in and it loaded up, and it definitely feels like an early JRPG from the Xbox 360 era. I'll say that it's you can use that help, so that'd be cool.
Yeah,
fun to see that happen.
Play it again. I barely remember it, to be honest. I only played and beat it once, like back when it came out. So
it's very simplistic now, like for what we have with a lot of current RPGs. Back then, I'm sure back then it was pretty cool, but like now it's like, ooh, okay, there's not a lot going on in this game.
Is that an exclusive? Like, or do
when it dropped? Yeah. Oh yeah.
No,
I remember they had like a DS. Oh,
yes,
you mean
they had a DS version as well? I'm not talking about the original. I'm talking about this one. Yes.
That is a great question.
Like our Xbox fans.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna port that. I don't think they're gonna spend the money to port that to PlayStation or anything else.
Why not? You need all the money you can get.
This is not gonna make them any money.
I mean, Octopath Traveler didn't go to PlayStation yet, and that was Microsoft like barely funded that port.
I'm sure that was a good business decision for them.
Microsoft was still shafted. They're like, yeah, we funded this. Y'all got to hook us up with Octopath 2. Square's like, yeah, about that.
Eventually it's coming. It was announced. It's supposed to be.
I know, but not at launch, though.
Not here yet. Man.
I'm not really feeling these puzzles in this game.
I mean, you just look at.
Yeah, I can't figure out the third.
Oh.
The third thing. It's like you have to do 3 of them. I can't figure out where to look for the third thing.
Let's talk about Nintendo's acquisition. They bought Shiver Entertainment. Very random.
Timbers.
From Embracer Group, which I assume means it probably didn't cost a lot for them to buy them. Either way, though, they worked. I'll say they worked on the port for Harry Potter. Like they weren't like the main. To my understanding, they weren't the main dev team behind it, but they helped out for it. And then also Mortal Kombat. So not like the greatest examples necessarily for the resume, but they did it. They seem familiar with the Switch hardware, and then I assume they're going to be used further for their next system. But it was kind of strange to see this because we're not used to Nintendo making acquisitions.
I'm tired of all these damn acquisitions, John.
Too much consolidation.
Way too much.
Nintendo getting in the mix. Big $5 million acquisition. I
$5 million? Do you think they even paid that much?
It wasn't much. But Shiver
you should have bought them, John. You got the money for it. You should have bought them, bro.
They're based in they're in Florida, so that's a US based studio that Nintendo picked up here. So I'll be curious to see where their logo pops up for, I assume, either a third party, and that's maybe what Nintendo did here was we're going to bring them in to help out with a kind of a studio that can be sent out to help out different third parties for Nintendo's next system and maybe speed up development or just help if they're having issues, or who knows, maybe they help with a first party game. So something to keep an eye on. Their logo pops up. Here's a good one.
It means
IGN.
One.
No, because I know how you've been recently, Sean.
What does that mean?
IGN reported that IGN bought Gamer Network, which is a collection of several publications, which did include Eurogamer, but there was a big thing about them and Digital Foundry. So to my understanding, they don't own Digital Foundry. They own shares of Digital Foundry. So Digital Foundry is like separate from this whole transaction. They won't necessarily be affected by it. But technically, this includes Eurogamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, VG247, Dicebreaker, GamesIndustry.biz. So IGN owns quite a bit of the media technically with this. Now, of course, this is bringing up a lot of questions around kind of ethical nature in games media. I don't necessarily believe that who is it? Ziff Davis is going to show up at Eurogamer and be like, "You got to run this."
What about all the layoffs that they did, though?
That was the other thing, and I noticed this. Sean. IGN report on everything but the layoffs.
Yeah, that's weird.
At the bottom, they did not want to mention that. However, I will give GamesIndustry.biz credit. They were bought by them, but they did mention the redundancies. So there you go. IGN just didn't. IGN reported on IGN and did not mention the layoffs. So,
interesting.
Yeah. People seem a little uneasy with this transaction, and I get it because you look at how many of these large publications are now under one entity, essentially. I think even like Humble Bundle's thrown in there from a prior acquisition. It seems like IGN has taken over a large chunk of the games media at this point. We think this has any real lasting effect? Like, will we see any people are worried about certain viewpoints and stuff just being thrown out there and around depending on different topics, and because there are so many different publications under them, that it's pretty easy to run a narrative whatever they would want to for whatever reason.
Well, I mean,
and I know Sean is
I wouldn't be as concerned with that, more so just people getting laid off.
That too.
Sure. And probably whatever sort of ad portal they have, because they're going to want to start probably aggressively pursuing ads on all these sites on places where maybe it doesn't feel right. Like I'd be more concerned with like GamesIndustry.biz.
Yeah, because that's supposed to be just, no nonsense. Just here's the thing. And now you have. I mean, it's all a big circle jerk. Everyone knows that by now. Like it's a big circle jerk, and now a lot of the circle jerkers just work with each other, and some of them got laid off. Like, there's other ways to consume media.
I was just double check. I just wanted to see what else IGN Media, what else they owned.
Digital Foundry.
So I think John Linneman mentioned on X that they were not necessarily affected by this in the sense that they are now owned by IGN. It was more or less that Eurogamer has shares in Digital Foundry. So there is some sort of ownership that's moving around, but it's not necessarily controlling ownership. I feel like they had bought some, like I mentioned, Humble Bundle was something. Fandom bought a bunch of other places as well. GameSpot, Giant Bomb, Metacritic. Okay. So there's really a few large entities that own like the vast majority of games media at this time. So it is
because it's all a giant. I mean, look at most of these people that work in journalism. They all work for like they've all worked at all of the websites. They just kind of go from one website to another. Like, and it is what it is. No real ill will towards them, but people don't like it when you say stuff like that. And it's like, why? Well, why does that bother you? If it's inherently incorrect, why does it bother you?
By the way, we talked about acquisitions and consolidation in gaming. Not necessarily just limited to gaming, also in games media.
But you won't get any sob pieces like you would.
IGN is the Xbox of games media now. They own everything. They got everything.
I mean, it's funny because they'll, you get all these articles about how it's bad for the companies, for video game companies to do it, but then when it's your own, company, radio silence, and it's like, okay, is it really about that, or what?
The layoff thing did stand out to me a bit. I'm like, oh, okay, they don't want to report on that. Interesting. I mean, I get why, because
it's just weird how when there's game layoffs, the usual suspects come out of the woodwork with their empathy and their sympathy and their all pathies to say how bad it is and shit like this, but then your fucking colleagues, your peers, the people that you actually work with get laid off and nobody says a fucking thing.
Oh, that's something I'm thinking of in the future. Like, let's say something like that happens again, where they just buy a couple outlets and layoffs happen. But now the word going down the chain is don't report on this for layoffs specifically, like we saw with the IGN piece. It's like, okay, all right, that's kind of the thing I'm thinking of there. It's like, makes you wonder in that regard.
You really should.
Dark.
You should be able to read between the lines, but a lot of people can't.
Darkland says, RGT85, would you consider Microsoft the modern day Atari, meaning releasing quantity or quality, which caused the company's downfall?
Yeah, different time. I mean, it's hard to compare those two. I mean, there are a few similarities, but I think both of those companies had widely different problems.
This is from Silver Strike, who says, can't wait for too many games. How can we meet y'all? Well, there will be a panel. Double check. I think it's gonna be on the website when they post the schedule. I'm trying to think of which day. It might have been like Friday late afternoon. Friday is different. Too many games because it only runs from like early afternoon to 7, I think. I don't know if our panel is in there. It might, because usually Saturday is kind of a madhouse. So I like to try to get our panel in on Friday if we can do it, just to get that out of the way. But I believe they're going to have, so they have like meet and greet kind of setups done, so it's a little more organized. And I believe we're going to have that on Saturday, which means we'll have a table set up for like an hour, and it'll be more organized and easy to find and everything. So that will be there and set up for everyone going to too many games. I saw some people asking in the Discord as well. So what I will do is, when I get the exact time and day, I will post in the Discord, and then I'll also mention it here like the week before too many games, just to keep people up to date for when that is. You're
buying me a meal, by the way.
Okay. You're not expensive. I've heard and seen what you eat, so I do not mind.
Well, no. That was when I didn't know it was being paid for. Now I know it's being paid for. So
shout outs to Jordan, man. He bought everybody food like multiple times.
What the hell? Okay, John, you're paying for all my meals, pal.
Mm-hmm. Go out to lunch with Eon, and then you'll order like the water and like a lemon.
I didn't know they were paying.
Everyone else got like wings and stuff. Sean gets like nothing, and then they just pay for it. And he's like, "Why did I not get anything?"
Cheap.
It's great. Minata Mario says, becomes a member, says, like Death Stranding, Hellblade 2 once again stirs up the old question: do games have to be fun to be a good game?
What? Do games have to be fun?
Yeah. Do they have to be fun to be a good game?
I mean, it sure as fuck helps quite a bit.
I think that's going back to like Death Stranding, where reviews were like, it's not fun, but it's 10 out of 10.
Well, I didn't like Death Stranding because it wasn't fun. So
okay. So Sean did not like that. If Death Stranding was like 5 hours, though, I feel like you would have played through it.
Well, I would have, because I played 18 hours of Death Stranding.
Really? You played 18 hours of that and you stopped?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. We've had this conversation a million times.
It's like half the game. Actually, that was like 40 some odd hours.
That is not half the game.
I think it took me like 44 or something like that to beat it. 43.
Oh, you kind of like beelined it then.
Good chunk of it, yeah. I mean, I met Conan O'Brien and everything.
It also depends when you start. Like, if you start a game and like the world has already been built out, where you got like the fast traversal stuff, you can definitely knock off a lot of time on the game as compared if you played it on day one. We played
it right away, I think. But you're right, MVG, because when I turned on the director's cut and checked it out, they had like roads were built. They had all this stuff set up and ready to roll. So it was a little easier to do all that.
I didn't have any of this on my playthrough.
Did you play it at launch or like a little later on?
I got to a little bit later.
Okay, yeah.
So I was out there building my own damn roads.
Really? Nah, it was already there.
There was
me like 100 hours.
I don't know what it's like now, but they would reset them after a while. So they'd let them go for like maybe a couple of weeks, and they would just reset them, because after a while, like the world got so like built out. It was so easy. Like there were roads everywhere, so it made traversal so much easier.
Printy Dude says, I feel like Space Marine 2 could be the sleeper hit for the second half of the year. That's probably just my bias for 40K anything. Ashoka says, RGT, why don't you do your after shows? Love them.
Sean
got a call. He's not allowed to do them anymore.
No, I'll do a show tomorrow afternoon before I go to the Memorial Day party.
What time are you doing that?
I don't fucking before 3:30.
Yeah, okay, good. I would say I might be able to jump on then.
Yeah, I'll do something probably around 1 or so.
I'm going to cook out in the afternoon, but I think before then I'll be free. So
yeah, I'm going to my uncle's house. Drink some burrs.
Josh Hall says, honestly, Switch 2 guarantees PS4 and Xbox One keep going. That is the
Nintendo Switch 2.
Thank you.
Switch 2 doesn't guarantee that, but I can see why people might think that. But it doesn't. We've had developers come out and do PS5, Xbox, and Switch, and not do PS4 and Xbox One. So it's just it's varied from developer to developer. There's not any like uniform thing, you know.
Rupia X Play says, what happened to Black Ops 5? There was Black Ops. It was kind of a smaller name. I thought it was Cold War. It was Black Ops Cold War, right? Am I wrong? Hold on. Call of Duty. That was 2020. Yeah, okay, cool. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. That was 2020. So that would have been 5. But I understand. But a lot of people were asking what happened to 5, and it was just kind of hidden in there. It wasn't as big in terms of the marketing. This one will be just Black Ops 6. They're being a bit more straightforward. Chaucer says GTA 6 will be the game to push everyone to next generation. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. GTA 6 will be that game. That's the one that everyone's just going to go, okay, it's time for the PS5 and Xbox Series. PS5 Pro and Xbox Series.
Imagine if it's like PS5 Pro enhanced. I'm like,
what, GTA 6?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it should.
I
would hope it is. If it isn't, that would be kind of annoying because I'll have PS5 Pro doing nothing then.
They like do something special for it.
What do you think they're gonna do, Sean? You like said it like something's happened.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, I'll say this: if that is how you get a 60 FPS mode, that'd be kind of a big deal for like you need the PS5 Pro for that. I'd be like, oh wow, okay, good thing I have it. Smash Brother says, hey Spawn Wave, I have a question. Do you think we might get a sequel to Super Mario RPG in that same exact isometric style view and an actual continuation of the story of Mario RPG?
Never.
That's not going to happen. For those who don't know, Paper Mario was actually called Super Mario RPG for a while, so that to them at least was the continuation. That's the original name, was Super Mario RPG 2, and then they changed it to Paper Mario. So that's what they feel is the continuation of Super Mario RPG. Plus, it was a weird thing with Square Enix with some of the characters that are owned by them. So I doubt they'll go back to that. They're just going to let Intelligent Systems do that. I do think, though, we could see maybe Mario and Luigi from some team, or Nintendo maybe brings that back. But I doubt they'll go back to, Super Mario RPG, that style and those characters and all that.
Just hope the 1,000-Year Door sells enough to make an impression on Nintendo and they go that route again. Shout out to Victor Perez once again. Big shout out to Victor.
Bro, this game's kind of cheeks.
Which games?
Hellblade. He's playing Hellblade.
Oh, you're already losing it, Sean? We losing you already? If you play it the whole podcast, you're like halfway done.
I know. I'm still stuck on this fucking puzzle.
What?
I can't find the third symbol.
Just look it up. Just look up.
Are you in the village?
Look it up.
That was like 20 minutes ago.
I know.
I will say, Sean, the thing helps you so much if you just kind of look in the direction.
Sean getting cooked by a walking simulator, bro.
So, what do you mean?
If you walk around, Sean, do you see logos floating in the air, like symbols like floating in the air anywhere?
No.
Because if you're in the vicinity, you'll see small symbols like floating around you, like transparent symbols.
So, okay. I'll figure it out.
You'll get it, Sean. You get it. Hitsobo says the main reason why I never bought a PS5 is the design. It's so grotesquely large. It won't fit my entertainment center. Make it smaller. And you're hurting Ryan, dude. Jeez.
Well, how does this hurt me?
Because you said you like the way the PS5 looks.
I like the design, but yeah, the thing's a goddamn yacht.
Can't wait for that PS5. I want to see what the PS5 Pros will look like.
It is smaller. I mean, the new one is smaller, not by a lot, but it's like I don't know. It's like it's smaller than like a 60 gig PS3, like the original PS3 design. If you can fit that in your entertainment center, then the Slim will.
When did RGT become the new Nate the Hate with his weird picture? Also, RGT, how's Gma? Any good eats this week? And Tinder update.
She's good. I'll see her tomorrow at my uncle's. Tinder's fine. I don't think I could do the Peruvian girl.
Yeah, but tell me a little bit about that. So what's the girl can't speak English?
None, no English whatsoever. So like she came over and like I was trying to talk to her and she would just give me like some puzzling look. And then she like busted out her phone and was like saying stuff into her phone. And I thought I knew like a little Spanish. Is it trabajo, the bathroom? No, that's el baño. Because she said
trabajo, that's work.
Is that work?
Yeah, that's work.
Did you ask her if she was there for a workshop?
Oh no.
It was something like that. Because I was like trabajo, like the bathroom, and she was like, she just kind of looked at me weird. And like,
God.
She's nice and she's mad cute. But
Did you
like,
tell her to go to the bathroom for work?
I don't know what I did.
Gracious.
I don't know what I did. Like,
oh gosh,
I don't know.
So did she want to meet? I mean, you guys there's translation apps, like there's like you can speak into.
Yeah, that's what she was speaking into her phone the whole time. But like even then it was like still kind of weird.
Okay. Is she cute?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, let's see what happens. Maybe you can teach her English. I don't know.
She's only been here for like 2 years. She's probably trying to get a green card off me.
Don't marry her. She don't.
Oh, no. I don't.
Manuel says, Spawn would love to see you collab with Nerd Nest Podcast. Okay, keep in mind. Smash Brothers says, hey, RGT, do you think that the Switch 2 will finally have a messaging system? Fix the lack of one on all the other Switch variants of the base model.
The Nintendo Switch 2. I hope it does, but you never really know.
Truly Epic asks, what's everyone's guilty pleasure game? Like a game you have to play at least once every year, but it isn't a very good game.
If I'm playing a game every year, it's
Hellblade 2.
You said it's good if you're playing it every year, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I like replaying Jak and Daxter, Spyro 1, Spyro 3. A lot of the like Yu-Gi-Oh! Game Boy Advance games I love replaying. But these are like good games to me.
Bad. I don't know. Are those considered bad?
What game?
I feel like
the Yu-Gi-Oh! GBA games.
Yeah, I feel like
I like them.
Bad.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna like anything that I replay often. I would consider as like a good game.
Ah, here it is.
We'll go to the Metacritic. See if it's considered good or bad.
Didn't you just say they got bought by someone?
What?
Didn't you say Metacritic was in some of those acquisitions?
That's with Fandom, I think.
Yeah,
I think they bought them.
That's not.
But yeah, they're under an umbrella of stuff too. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think you're good, Ryan. These are all like 80s, so they would be universally considered good.
I know I'm good.
Well, hold on. Were any of them Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Duel Academy?
No, I don't play that one.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Worldwide Edition Stairway to the Destined Duel.
Oh, that one's bad.
I have that one, but I don't think I don't replay that one. What's
Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship Tournament 2004.
No, not that one.
It's classic.
Forget what it's called.
You might be safe.
I play it every year, but I forget what it's called.
You might be safe. These are all yellow boxes on Metacritic. I think you're good. As long as the Pokemon trading card game
Eternal Duel of Soul.
Eternal Duel of Soul. Eternal Duel of Soul. Oh, you're good. That's 81. You're good.
Yeah, it was like right there. I guess I was playing it.
Good. You're good. As long as Pokemon trading card game isn't bad, I'm good. I play that game a lot for fun. No, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Okay, cool. And Andrew says RGT reminds me of Millhouse. Remember Alf? He's back in Pog form.
I love Pogs. I have a Pog collection.
Perfect Image says, anyone knows about Project 007 from IO Devs? They had an interview a few months ago, I think, about it, but they really didn't say anything much. They're just working on it. So I think we're still at least a year off from even seeing it. I mean, it'd be nice to see it at Summer Game Fest, but I think there's still some time before we're going to get that game. Camilla says, OJ haters wish they were just as fun of a host on the best gaming podcast on the net and get paid for it. Reevaluate your life choices. I said, okay.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Gillentine says, thoughts on Nintendo Store in San Francisco in 2025. Sean, I think, is going to go there. Sean's going to visit. It'll be great.
Enjoy. I mean, you don't. Hey, you can steal whatever is under $1,000 in there, no problem, and take a shit on the floor when you're in there too, just for the hell of it. No one's gonna care. No one. You'll probably get a key to the city.
I've been to San Francisco. You cannot do those things normally.
Sounds like a YouTube video, Sean.
My mom was there.
I got kicked out of the Nintendo Store. Yeah, good.
I've been there.
They wouldn't kick me out. They'd applaud me. Like, thank you, brave soul, for pooping on our floor and stealing under $1,000 worth of merchandise.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was just there recently for a Splatoon event, and yeah, I didn't see it, but okay. Maybe I missed that part. Maybe I missed that part when I was walking downtown. And all that. Maybe I missed that part.
Did you smell it?
No. It was beautiful. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed my time there. I'm looking forward to the store, having one closer and not go to New York. I mean, but apparently New York's the paragon of humanity and law and order and no crime.
I was there. It was mayhem.
So New York is just so perfect, So I guess San Francisco.
I mean, it's better. It's better than San Francisco.
Maybe they've gotten they built up the.
Do you learn any more fighting moves in this game, or is my? Oh,
you're playing it. You're playing it. Well, no, you get like a thing on the side.
You get an item later that gives you some more attacks and stuff.
In terms of like combos or anything, you're kind of playing it. Fish fan RGT after show. He will be streaming tomorrow, apparently.
Yeah, so stream tomorrow.
There we go. I will bring up Streamlabs as we go around here and finish up just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm going to go to MVG. Where can everyone find you, sir?
You can find me on YouTube at Modern Vintage Gamer. Video out next week. Happy Memorial Day for those in the US. And thanks for having me.
You grilling Memorial Day?
Hell yeah, I'm grilling.
Right, good stuff.
100 degrees, baby.
Best
got
time
the pool right there, grilling.
Best time to grill. 100 degrees. Yep.
Yeah, keep an eye out on MVG on X. He'll probably post a picture of whatever he's grilling. So we go over to Ryan. Where can everyone find you?
Over on YouTube at Mystic Ryan, covering the world of PlayStation. We'll probably have a conversation up tomorrow, and then, depending on whenever this live stream gets announced, we'll have another conversation that finally pops up.
Ryan and I figured out the name for the PlayStation podcast. It is set up. We have a logo, the whole thing. We're ready. We're ready to roll. Just got to wait. We're waiting for Sony to do their showcase, and our first episode is going to be about their showcase. So
PlayStation prostate pushers. Let's go.
That's not it, but
wow, we didn't think of that, John.
Actually, if you put that in like logo form, that would
Triple
probably
P.
work.
Exactly.
Why weren't we thinking about prostates?
Gotta get it checked.
I mean, we kind of almost like litigation and stuff. We're close.
Would have been so much easier to go with that idea.
See, we didn't have Sean around. MVG actually came up with the name and everything, which people will find out soon enough. So MVG came through with that. Let me go over to OJ. Where can I find you?
Yeah, if I may, right here on YouTube, Player Essence, cover RPG and Nintendo news. I have a top 25 RPGs of JRPGs of all time video that's had a lot of people talking about it, and it's doing really well. So I appreciate everybody who's watching that. Check that out. And tomorrow I'm going to be doing a special live stream for Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door, where we're giving away like a bunch of copies of the game. I forgot how many we're giving away, but it's like at least two or three. And then also Super Mario RPG. So we're going to be giving away a bunch of games. No, well, yeah, you could if you win, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you win. So we're giving away a bunch of copies of the game. We're going to be talking about it for a little bit, and then we're going to be playing just for a bit as well. So we're giving away a ton of copies. So if you want to check that out tomorrow, it'll be like around like 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock PT. So yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate that, Joe. Shout out to everybody.
Over on Streamlabs, if you hear Hungry Man says was playing Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore last night, and heard a familiar voice for the dude at the beginning of the volcano level. Love the streams as always.
Oh, that's that game. It's like the Zelda style cartoon. It's MVG.
It's MVG. Shout out to MVG.
Yep. Yeah, if game development doesn't work out, voice acting is the move.
There it is. Check out Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore. You'll hear MVG apparently early on. So Jason said, could the Vivian controversy hurt Paper Mario sales? Game boycotts don't normally do much because parents don't care about 30 FPS or a Pokedex. But with brands like Disney or Target, we've seen sales actually seriously hurt for them over the specific topic matter. So I had to make sure I was reading all this right. No, I don't think so. I don't think
it's number one on the eShop. It's number one on Amazon, and it's probably it's doing really well. So no, absolutely.
No, I think it's gonna do fine. I don't think it's a big enough deal for anyone to worry about too much. Aloy says, do you think Astro will be the PlayStation version of Kingdom Hearts, visiting stages where various PlayStation characters live? Easy way to market it.
That'd be awesome.
That would be really cool, actually. I like that idea a lot.
PlayStation.
That is one of the most creative things I've heard that PlayStation could do in a while. So it probably won't happen, but that'd actually be pretty fun if they had Astro go around. I mean, they did a lot of references in Astro's Playroom when you played it. Like they pointed to, there was a Death Stranding Easter egg. There was Final Fantasy in there. They had a lot of fun with that. So I really like that idea. That also sounds like it would take a long time to make. So
yeah, now you're getting into you're kind of leaving the AA category with that.
Need the AAA Astro game. I'm here for it. And then Aloys once again says, do you think Nintendo will eventually run into long production schedules and high budget next gen? We already only get one major game from their big IP per generation now. One Zelda, one Mario, etc. Yeah, I think they're already running into it.
They already said that game development time was going to take longer, didn't they?
Yeah, they did state that, but we definitely got more than one Zelda. I mean, I guess if you count like the cross gen, and I mean if you count like Super Mario Bros. Wonder and like Odyssey, those being new games or different games, so we definitely get more than that. But I think maybe he's thinking like, I guess, by itself, you know, because we did get Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, and we got Odyssey and we got Wonder. So
it's gonna take a while, I think, as they get the next. I think one of the reasons the next system isn't out yet is because of software. So
yeah,
it's hard.
But no, he's right though. It's gonna take longer. Nintendo did state that. They said, yeah, development times will get longer, you know, more complex, blah blah blah.
Okay, I think we're good there. Yes. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. We'll be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see you guys then.
And you can find me on RGT85. You fucking asshole. You didn't give me an outro. Go fuck yourself.
Go ahead, Sean. Tell everyone where they can find you.
No, I don't want to now.
I didn't even end the stream because I knew what was about to happen. Go ahead, Sean. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Find me in your mother's panty drawer, sifting through them.
What?
That's all. That's all I got to say.
Go check out Sean on his channel.
You should have cut the stream when you had a chance, John.
Yeah,
I should have, but I left it on so Sean could
get us out of here, John.
Goodbye.